Hello everyone, my name is Nishant and in today's tutorial we are going to learn about enumerate and else in context of for loop in Python. In order to understand enumerate and else, the first thing that we must do is revisit our concepts of for loop and break. Let us look at a couple of examples to understand for loop and break. So now let us try to understand what we have done here in cell number 1 and cell number 2. In cell number 1, what we have done here is defined a variable called numbers list, which is a Python list data type. In cell number 2, we have passed that Python list to the for loop. So this is also called an iterable. The for loop always takes an iterable. Now the list is an iterable, and so is set, dictionary, tuple, and string. So if you put any of those data type here, the for loop will work in exactly the same way. Now, how for loop is working is first time it will take the value 12 and it will put into the variable number, and then this print function will go ahead and display it on the screen. Then it goes on to number 23, which is the second element of our list, and then it goes ahead and puts that into the variable number, and the print statement displays it on the screen, and it continues until it reaches till the end of the list, that is 45. So what you would see here is the same content of the list being displayed on the screen. Now let us try to revisit our concept of break. Now let us try to understand the lines of code that we have written here. If you observe carefully, the first two lines here and the first two lines written previously are exactly identical. However, we have added a couple of more lines. So what does this signify? What these two lines signify is that each time a value is getting picked up from the list. So for example, 12 in the first instance. So the number 12 gets picked up from this number list. It gets assigned to the variable number 12 gets displayed. After this, it checks if 12 is less than 0. Now, in this case, it is not true, so this break statement is not executed. It continues until 45. So, similarly, print 45. If 45 is less than 0, no, it is not, hence break will not execute. However, when it comes to -1, it goes ahead and prints the number -1, the display that you can see here, and then it checks if -1 is less than 0. Obviously it is. So this condition became true on encountering -1 entry from our list, and then it executes the break keyword or the break statement. Now, the significance of break statement is it takes you out of the for loop. If you would observe, previously 23 and 45 were printed after -1. However, that is not the case in this particular line of code. Hopefully, now break and for loop is clear to you. Now let us try to learn about enumerate and else with for loop through an example. Let us try to understand the given problem statement. Point number 1, iterate through the given list. Point number 2, print the value and item number. So unlike before where we were just printing the value, we need to print the item number as well. So the output should look like 12 item number 1, 23 item number 2, so on and so forth. If any element in the given list is less than 0, break out of the loop. Just like before, we need to implement this condition as well. Print incomplete execution if the loop was terminated using break. Okay, so we need to figure out a way to know if the loop was terminated using break or not. Print complete execution if loop was not terminated using break. Alright, so let us try to solve this problem statement of using our prior Python knowledge till now. Let us try to understand what we have done here to solve this problem. The first thing that we have done here is defined a list called numbers, and we have placed a bunch of numbers into it. After that, we have defined two variables. The first variable is counter, that is to print the given item number to fulfill the requirement of bullet point number 2. So along with the number, now we are also printing which item number it is. So this counter variable serves that purpose. Then we have taken a broken flag which helps us to figure out if the execution was complete or not. So just like before, we are making use of for loop to iterate through numbers, and each time we are storing the variable into number. So along with number, now we are also printing the counter, and then we are incrementing counter so that when the for loop comes next time, our item number is incremented and displayed appropriately. Now to solve this given bullet point number 3, we have written this if condition. This if block, what it does is it checks each and every time if the given number that we are currently iterating through is less than 0, then it goes ahead and breaks the loop. Along with that, it does a couple of more things. A, it goes ahead and prints incomplete execution as per our requirement, and then it sets a flag broken is equal to true. Now we know that if broken is equal to set is true, that means the execution was essentially incomplete, and hence this if block will not execute, and hence the complete execution message will not be seen. Now this works perfectly fine when we have a negative value into our list. Now let us try to remove this negative value and change it to a positive value and see if our code still works. So what you would observe here is that the code is still working fine. Along with the value, it is also printing the item number, and in the end we got complete execution because the loop was terminated by the end of the list and not encountering a negative number. However, there are a couple of problems with this solution. This solution is pretty verbose and it is not a very good solution. Now let us try to look how we can rewrite this solution by making use of enumerate and for else to solve this problem in more Pythonic way. Let us try to understand how we have solved this particular problem in a much better way by making use of enumerate and else block along with for. Let us scroll up so that we have both code onto the screen. So there is no change in the first line. In the both cell block, we are defining the list called numbers. The first change comes when you look at the for loop. Now what I have done, I have made use of enumerate function. So what enumerate does is, along with passing the item that is available into our list, it also passes the index number. Now if you know lists in Python, the indexing basically starts from 0. So the element number 5 is at index 0, the element number 43 is at index 1, the element number 45 is at index 2, so on and so forth, and index number 55 is at index number n-1, where n is the length of the given list. So we can make use of enumerate and completely remove the code related to counter where we were manually keeping a track and incrementing that. So enumerate helps us get rid of that problem. So again, to repeat, what enumerate does, along with the given value, it also gives you the index number of that particular item. Okay, now since index is 0 based, all we need to do is we need to add 1 to it in order to display the position number. So you would see how by making use of enumerate, we were able to get rid of the code like counter is equal to 1 and then counter is equal to counter plus 1. Now let us try to look at another change that we have done here. Now we are not setting a flag called broken, but in order to solve that problem, we are making use of else block. Please notice that this else block is not associated with this if block. This else block is associated with this for block. Python supports else with both loops, for loop as well as the while loop. Now, how this works is, if the for loop has terminated naturally means it has started through the first element and it has ended through the last element, then the code in the else block associated with the for block will execute. However, if the code has encountered, if the for loop has been broken by making use of break, then this else block will never execute. Okay, so let us try to look at our example diagram that we have done here. So since our list do not contain any negative number, this if block never became true, and then this break was never executed, and hence this else block was executed here. If you try to place a negative number, so let's change this 1 to -1, what you would see in the execution is that this if will become true in the case of -1, this print will get executed, this for loop will encounter break and it will terminate, and after that, since this for loop was terminated due to a break statement, this else statement will not execute. Let us look at that once again by changing this example of -1 to 1. You would notice now that you have got complete execution because this break statement was not encountered. And if we change this to -1, this else statement will not execute because break was encountered. Hopefully, I would have made for loop, break, enumerate, and for else clear for you in this tutorial. Let me know in the comments section if you have any doubts. If you liked the video, please hit a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.